Astana trying something desperately in a light crosswind with 38 k's to go was not going to stop this stage turning into a bunch sprint. Stage 8 of the Vuelta a España, fourth sprint we've had in the first week, 174 k's long. It's like a light version of that Giro d'Italia stage that Sagan won. Yes, there's two short climbs in the middle, but really not enough for Bike Exchange to try and drop the pure sprinters for the likes of Michael Matthews. So the favourites for the stage would be Jasper Philipsen, Fabio Jakobsen. Those two are looking much better than Arnaud Démare in this year's Vuelta a España. Even when Démare's lead-out trainer and Guarnieri have done quite a good job, and I think Guarnieri did a good job again today. We had the classic break, we've seen it like 4 times already, one Burgos, one Euskaltel, and one Caja Rural rider. James Knox for Fabio Jakobsen, and Quickstep was pacing for a lot of the day, as well as Jay Vine for Alpecin Phoenix. Now, given that we've got a mountaintop finish tomorrow, and I'd be expecting those two to be trying to get into the breakaway, they're not GC threats, we'll see if that's a disadvantage to them compared to riders like Padun, who sat in today. In terms of the intermediate sprint, the Quickstep train again got a little bit wrong for Jakobsen. He didn't end up taking any points. Philipsen coming first out of the bunch after the breakaway took 1, 2, and 3 positions, and after that, pretty much nothing happened for about an hour. Still Knox and Jay Vine pacing, chasing this breakaway. Nothing happened on those climbs either. They were pretty fast climbs and no teams really took it up until Astana, out of this town, tried to split it in the crosswinds. They actually did create a split, I guess. I mean, the breakaway got caught in the crossfire. Ciccone and Trek Segafredo, I think, were caught behind. Of course, Education First were caught behind once again. Carthy has abandoned, but I guess they want to be consistent in their crosswind positioning as of yesterday. But it all came back together. It wasn't a very strong wind, and teams like Alpecin and Deceuninck Quickstep with strong rouleurs weren't really interested in splitting it apart, and so it was the run into the finish. Once again, Dylan van Baarle, Ineos keeping Egan Bernal in prime position going to 3 k's to go. He's second wheel on the left, whereas Jumbo-Visma and Roglic are much deeper in the peloton, a little bit out of position. And somewhat curiously, Deceuninck Quickstep took it up this far out from the finish, whereas the other day after his stage when Jakobsen said they were almost content to let the GC teams ride until 3 k's to go, then they'd take over.
All the GC teams want to be in front, and we understand that. And then 3K from the finish, we tried to take over.
Maybe it wasn't the plan, or maybe they wanted to stay in front a little bit earlier today to Deceuninck Quickstep. They got bailed out a little bit by the FDJ train. Kevin Genietz on the front with 4 k's to go. That kept Van Leerberger fresh, so he wasn't in the wind at this point with 2.6 k's to go. Then the last-ditch attack from Jetse Bol on Burgos with 1,800 meters was collected pretty swiftly, and it was UAE keeping Molano in good position, going under the Flamme Rouge. Rui Oliveira and Trent in there, they've been doing a pretty good job. And Jakobsen and Philipsen, the favourites for this stage, were both detached from their leadouts. You can see Philipsen in the green points jersey on the bottom right-hand side. He's just got Krieger in front of him. He's got this Alpecin riders all over the place. They got one up front. They got pinched on the left-hand barriers, and so Philipsen had to move up the right-hand side. Jakobsen is detached from the quick-step train of Van Leerberger and Seneschal, who are up the front. He's deep behind Jordi Meeus on the right of Einhorn. And it's actually Démare and Molano who are pretty much in the best position at this point with a K to go. Démare with about 1.5 riders to lead him out. The problem for Démare is, I don't know if it's his fault or they're just on the wrong side. He gets pinched by Martin Laas on the left-hand side here. He just can't move up to follow Guarnieri, whereas Alpecin are trying to move Philipsen up on the right-hand side in front of Michael Matthews. I think Jakobsen's fighting for his wheel out of shot. Here you can see the difference in the lead-outs. Oliveira is about to pull off, and it's between Trentin on the right and Seneschal who will be the quickest to string this out and keep their riders in good position. Well, in fact, Molano stayed in good position, but it was Seneschal. He was much quicker starting this lead-out on the barriers, and behind him, Bert van Leerberger, who's finished his pull for Quickstep, is looking around. Where is Fabio? Where is Fabio? He's supposed to be second or third wheel behind Florian Seneschal, and he's actually on the left-hand side, on the completely other side of the road, just following Jasper Philipsen. So it wasn't working perfectly for Quickstep. I guess they did keep the pace high. You can see Jakobsen and Philipsen behind Minali and Matthews about 8th or 9th wheel going into this left-hand bend. Then there's going to be a chicane and then a right-hand bend, similar to the other day actually, where Jacopo Guarnieri, the lead-out man for Démare, he doesn't know Démare is 10th wheel at this point. He's, I guess, hoping he's on his wheel. Does a pretty good lead-out through this corner, but Jakobsen jumps early with 190 meters to go. Dainese and Philipsen fight for his wheel, but he's too good. He's the quickest man in this race, Fabio Jakobsen. He's winning in spite, in my view, of some lead-out issues. Through the corner, you see he slipped off Jasper Philipsen's wheel to the right-hand side. He wanted to make sure he didn't get boxed in like Milano did, like Minali got pinched on the barriers, and launches early. And then Dainese, who's had good positioning in a couple of these sprint stages, keeps Philipsen off Jakobsen's slipstream. And frankly, even with Jakobsen's slipstream, I'm not sure Philipsen would have been able to get in there, then come out of the wheel in the last 50 meters, particularly the way Jakobsen was powering through to the line. So a really, really impressive win from Jakobsen. He looks back on top shape. And I guess the question marks are mainly over Arnaud Démare. What is happening with FDJ's top sprinter? He's not even coming top 3 consistently in these sprints. He's having a lot of positioning issues, and we can't even really see if it's the legs or not because he's so far behind in these sprints and losing the wheel. But great win for Fabio Jakobsen. He won 2 stages in the Vuelta, I think a couple of years ago. He wins ahead of Dainese, Philipsen, Meeus, Molano, Einhorn, Démare, Matthews, Lars, and Alligat. Tomorrow's stage, completely different. It's a high mountain stage, stage 990 kilometers long from Puerto Lumbreras to Alto de Bellafique, and it finishes with a 13k 7% climb. But during the stage, there's like a 28 kilometer long climb. It looks like a good opportunity for Ineos Bahrain or Movistar to mount a raid against Roglic to try and use multiple numbers on GC. When asked about the possibility of that, Pavel Sivakov was non-committal after the stage.
What do you expect of tomorrow? It's a stage to try to attack Primoz, to try to attack Movistar. Or at this moment of the race, it's a bit more wait and see for the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. I didn't speak yet with the DSs, and we don't know yet what will be the tactic, but for sure tomorrow is a good opportunity to try and do something before the first rest day.
So hopefully we have some big GC action tomorrow. Could be a Marc Padun Criterium de Dauphiné resurgence. He's been conspicuous in his absence in the last few stages. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Short sprint recap. Like it down below if you did, and I'll see you with the recap of stage 9 tomorrow. Ciao.